Hey, Chris.
Hey, Bob. How are you today?
Hey, what's happening?
Beautiful. Tonight on A Quantum View, our guest is going to be Tom Benedict. He's very big in the crystal world. Tom has been an energy healer for over 20 years. He is a certified Reiki master and master of Christology from Melody. He uses techniques that he has learned in his healing practices, combining his abilities as a Reiki master, medical intuitive, clairaudient, clairvoyant, and psychic to work with physical, emotional, and spiritual challenges. Tom schedules appointments for stone readings, psychic readings, and distance healing sessions coast to coast. June 2nd, 2013. Now he's hit the big time, and now he's on A Quantum View. Tom and his wonderful array of healing stones and crystals at tomstones.org. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to A Quantum View. This is Tom Benedict. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Chris. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. I always love sharing great information.
This whole world that we're in with dealing with love and light is all about education, because ultimately we can do everything that we can to help spiritually and energetically help people, but a lot of us forget that education and talking to people about this to bring awareness, to help people to understand the whole thing is the hardest thing to do, because a lot of people don't know how to talk about this. A lot of people will speak over your head. A lot of people will talk in jargon that we just don't understand. And to help people to awaken and understand it all is our job, I believe. Tom, you've been working with stones for quite a while. What kind of issues do you find you've been working with, mostly working with crystals?
Well, almost any aspects of our body, they're usually a mineral that can help that area to heal and to do, bring in the right energies to allow perfect healing. And so I really enjoyed being able to match that up. And I found that a lot of people really are carrying a lot of stress at the moment. And stress, as you and I know, Chris, are the anti-game plan of healing. And one of the things that I use a lot, or suggest for people that carry a lot of stress, is blue lace agate. It's a fabulous stone just to help us to relax and chill and kind of get in the right, energetic mood. Citrine is another one that I really like a lot, because it really helps people that carry stress in their digestive area. And when they do that, it just really disrupts their entire digestive system. And you can actually hold a citrine stone and about 2 inches above the navel, right next to the skin. And if you repeat a phrase, I'm really, just like you, Chris, I'm really into our mantras and our prayers. And so if you hold a stone right there and you repeat the phrase, my digestive system is relaxed and working perfectly. If you repeat it 3 times, then most of the time, your stress in that area of the body just disappears. And I think that it's one of those things that if you say, if it takes you 100 times to say that a day, well, whoops, it's a $2 stone and a phrase that helps us to feel better. And I really, really like the way that helps that area to fix. And I suggest people that have really antagonized challenges after eating, to about 10 minutes before they eat, they say that phrase 3 times, they hold the stone right there, and most of the time they're able to step entirely out of that stress zone. And, I feel like so much TV and so many things that we're seeing and hearing are just adding to our fear and stress. And that's really one of the key things that I've really noticed with more and more people. Seems like a lot of the people that have a lot of that stress challenges watch a lot of news. And that's not one of my most favorite things to do.
Now, you look at healing stones, all these crystals. How many different crystals are there?
Well, they keep finding them. Every year, somebody finds a different stone. Like about 2 years ago, a K2 stone that actually somebody, and this takes a lot of effort, I'm telling you, somebody was climbing the K2 mountain, and they took tools to do digging and literally found a stone that no one had ever seen before. It was granite with iolite in it. And they literally had to backpack the stone down, and those stones have been processed, etc. The pocket that they found that mineral in is gone. And so I actually think that we'll never run out of new stones that come into our energetic space, and because of the different vibrations that different materials have, matching those things up to areas of the body, it could be physical, emotional, or spiritual things, and complementing our healing with it is just really, a great thing. But I actually use and sell tumbled stones, about 140 of them at most of the shows that I do.
You mentioned the word new stones. Now, I'm no stranger to new stones. I'm all about the new stuff. There's two stones that I do have within my office, within my clinic. One of them is shungite. What is your experiences with shungite?
I have a lot of experience with shungite. I sell shungite in about 6 different forms. I've got a bracelet that I wear on occasion when my wrist acts up a little bit. I have one, as a matter of fact, listen to it. You can't hear it because my lid's not on my water jug, but I even have a shungite in my water because it's to me, it's one of the most fascinating newer stones that I've worked with. I had surgery on my right knee about 25 years ago, and last summer, it started reminding me of that. Every time I went up a step and every time I went down a step, and I was not pleased with that at all, Chris, I started to carry a raw shungite. It's actually a noble shungite, and in my right pocket. And within a month's time, Chris, every bit of that pain went away.
What is the special thing about shungite? Because it has been the stone that everybody's looking for, and I do carry a bit on my website. I've got the shungite water crystals, and I've got some of the spheres and pyramids. What is it about shungite that makes it so powerful?
Well, actually, the stone itself, I think they found it in the late 70s. It is a carbon-60 molecule, and it is the form of a soccer ball, and it has nothing in the middle of it but 60 molecules of carbon all around it. It's called the fullerene molecule, and it's the third form of carbon that they found on the planet. They didn't even know it existed. From the things that I've read, it's about 2 billion years old. No one really knows how it was formed or how it got onto this planet, but when it was on the planet, there was no atmosphere and only protobacteria on the planet. And it just amazes me the different things that it does. This stone actually led to every nanotechnology on the entire planet because of that fullerene molecule that they found in the carbon there.
Interesting. I've had nothing but success with shungite, and what I like about shungite is that if you're making shungite water, you can actually program the water with crystal rod or an intent to go in and do some healing on an area that needs healing. So, yeah, shungite is very, very powerful. I've got it all around me here. I want to ask you about another crystal. This is something that I received as a gift from my mentor. This is a stone that he said is one of the rarest stones on the planet, only because nobody can get a permit to mine it within a mountain in the Sahara Desert. It is called mondolite.
I'm not as familiar with that stone.
Mondolite has been described as iron quartz. It's a brownish reddish color. And it is formed from a geode.
If it's okay with you, Chris, I'm kind of tuning into the one that you're talking about right now that you have.
I'm holding it in my right hand right now.
Yep. To me, it works on a lot of our outer bodies. It doesn't. I don't see it working on the physical as much as the spiritual and emotional body, and tying those two together, creating the bridge that some people lack or are challenged with. And it really opens up some of the third eye things, especially, I guess really especially working with the emotional and spiritual body's connection. Does that make any sense to you?
It does. The stone resonates with me. It sits on my desk and looks at me every day. And, I know that there is a lot of purpose with it. And I just kind of keep looking at it, knowing that one day, all of a sudden, this stone is going to be very, very functional in what I'm doing. Just like a lot of the other things I have, some of my tools will sit there and look at them for a year. And all of a sudden, I'll pick them up and start using them. That is interesting. It is, what I understand, very rare, only because it's difficult to mine, because people can't get to it, or people haven't found any other deposits. Just like shungite is only found in one place in Russia, which is interesting enough. With other crystals, where I was going before is that there's so many crystals out there. And as you said, we're discovering more all the time. How would somebody, you walk into a crystal shop and there's hundreds of crystals in front of you. How are you going to know what crystal you need or what crystal you should have within your person?
Well, one of the easiest ways that I tell people is that the Native Americans and those like yourself and myself that actually hear the stones, we actually hear them and they're calling to us. Well, if you were a stone person, as the Native Americans considered them, and you knew that you ought to go with that person, that you could match up with that person real well, well, I teasingly say that they just draw our attention by saying, I'm so pretty, oh so pretty, I'm so pretty. And so some of the times you could just look at the ones that look really pretty to you. Really, they just stand out. And in general, those are the ones that are calling to you. The other way around it is if you understand your chakra colors, and let's say you're having challenges with your throat area, well, we know that energy is usually the color blue, and matching up, looking at the different blue stones and finding which one of those that might, that look really pretty to you would be another great way of matching them up. The other thing is calling somebody like me or you that understand the stones, and a lot of my sessions are about the stones and matching them up. And as a matter of fact, at shows for free, somebody just stands in front of me, they give me their first name, and I actually see a bubble of light over the stones that are calling to them, and then I have a colored pick, and I put the picks in the stones that are calling to them, and then come back and explain each stone and why it's calling to them. And I do that at shows for free.
That is something that people don't realize is that there's people like you and I who can work intuitively to see what stone would be best for you, and sometimes it changes day to day. So color-wise, of course, all the stones have their own different colors. So ultimately, it might just be the color of stone that you need, not so much the name of the stone, correct?
Some people really have to have all of the details, and this was here, this has a hardness factor of this. With me, it is, this really feels good in my hand. I like it. And to me, a lot of times, that's all I really need to know. And when we do it in a very simplistic form and just, kind of like tune it in like that, then it's so much easier than thinking that, let me look up in the book and maybe it's this or maybe it's that. And the thing about it, as we know, the people that write the books, they tune in, and this is the way that has worked for them. But it's not always what harmonizes with everyone. That's why so many books have so much different information. And so I just like tuning in, and it looks pretty, it feels good, and, well, let me carry it a while.
What I generally notice and what I tell people to do is take a stone, hold it in your left hand. If you feel a tingle or a buzz up your arm a little bit, then you know your body's going to need that.
Sometimes they also feel cold or heat. But any sensation like that is a spectacular way, Chris, to tell people about how to connect with the stones and harmonize.
Yeah, a lot of times if you hold it to your heart and you do the body pendulum, you just let your body go loose and you might fall forward or backward telling you yes or no, do you need that, is another good way to tell for yourself. Do you have any kind of reading that people can do about gemstones that is very, very credible that you want to tell anybody about?
As far as hematite's one of those stones that I really like a lot. It's been around for so long. But as you and I realize, Chris, we meet a whole lot of people that are exceptionally empathic. And I believe, just like me, I believe you were born with a lot of spiritual gifts, and you worked through a lot of those and allowed them to bloom as you grew into your gifts. Well, can you imagine being an empath? And the easiest way that I say to people is that we have a neon sign on our head, and it says, "Send me your challenges, I will help you to heal." And when we're in public, we get everybody's stuff, everything from their aches and pains, their emotional challenges. And so by using a hematite as a shield, then we can actually block that information. And the way that you do that is you just visualize the shiny hematite stone and creating an egg-like shield starting at the top of your head, going all the way down. And you want to be sure the back of your ankles and the bottom of your feet are in. And usually when you have that just right, you'll feel extra relaxed. When that hematite shield is on you, it lasts 24 hours. And during that 24 hours, you get to choose who you want to connect with. Like at the grocery store, the elderly lady in front of you, oh, she's such a sweetheart. Well, you're allowing your energies to be used, but not necessarily for the 15 people behind you. So this gives us, as an empath, a lot more control over our energy space. Also, during the 24 hours, you still receive everything for your highest good. So it's not like a mirror reflecting everything. It just reflects those your capability of empathic ability on those that you wish. Now, the reason I like this is so many people, and one of the things I remember as being an empath as an adolescent, you know, you're going through so many emotional things during adolescence. Can you imagine also, Chris, feeling and knowing what everybody else in the classroom feels like? It can be very overwhelming. And a lot of your younger people that are going up through the schools now are exceptionally empathic. And they get labeled ADD and all these other labels that the medical environment, they don't know any different. But a lot of times they're just becoming overwhelmed by everybody's feelings. I met an agoraphobic once, somebody that never left their house. And they were told, you will go to this show and you will see this man. And it was me. I taught this person this hematite shield. And now they go everywhere they want to. I love that story. Now, the other good thing about the hematite shield, it's also protective of your the EMF waves, solar flares, cell phone energies. So it really does also a lot of waveform reflections also. And I think more and more people that use that kind of shield have so many more benefits. It's one of those shields that I teach many, many people.
I've heard lots of people ask me about hematite for various things, and of course I douse to see what is best for them. The hematite, is it a good all-around general protection from anything like psychic attacks or any kind of attacks from spiritual components that might want to do harm to us?
It can do some of that work also. I always suggest using the shield, visualizing the shield. That really boosts the energy of the hematite. It can do some of that protection. As far as the best protection we can have, that I like anyway, is this stone apophyllite. Are you familiar with apophylites, Chris?
I did buy an apophyllite once. I do a lot of trade shows myself, and I was at that trade show in Winnipeg, and there's this one lovely lady named Annette who does gemstones. She'll take the gemstone and wrap it really beautiful, and she had a big table full of them, like probably 150. And I went straight to this apophyllite. It's a natural pyramid, crystal pyramid, and I just looked at it and said, that's my stone.
It's one of the stones that I sell so many of that my vendor calls me the apophyllite monster. I sell so many of them. To me, they radiate so much beautiful white light that they don't allow anything else in. So if we carry one of those in our energy space, our aura, then it has a potential of filling our energy with so much white light that it doesn't allow other things in. Now, I call it Christ-light energy, whatever you want to call it, it's up to you, but it is some of the purest of white lights that I've ever worked with. And so that, to me, is an exceptional way to keep things that are not harmonious with the white light away from you. If you were to carry one of those, or 2 or 3 like I normally do, and also do the Hematite shield, then you're very protective from the energies that are around that are not harmonious with our thought forms.
Protection is a big thing. Is there any other stones that would offer a good all-around protection, something that you may not have to add intent, something that you can just carry on a daily basis? Because a lot of us are busy, a lot of us aren't really sure about creating the affirmation, creating the intent to use a stone, and some people just don't feel comfortable doing it. They feel like I'm talking to myself and people are going to think I'm crazy. Okay, so there's a lot of people who just want a stone that they can carry on their person day to day and not have to think about. Is there anything like that?
That would be the apophyllite, and that's why, I really love them so much. I'm looking at a big, huge one on my counter right here, and I carry it shows at the moment. I do about 30 shows a year. I have a 30-pound cluster of that. It's one of those stones also that you could put four around each of the corners of your household and create sacred space by doing just visualization of the grid and creating a box of white light. But I definitely go with the apophylites, and I love them so much that you will rarely ever see me without an apophyllite.
You are the apophyllite monster.
I am.
Yeah, my apophyllite, I was drawn to it, and I was like, okay, and I've lost it. I need to get a new one, so possibly I can maybe find one somewhere. I'm not too good with gemstones. They tend to fall out of my pockets and off my neck. Now, quartz. Quartz, to me, I've made a lot of my tools. I've taken a lot of my pyramids and create multiple pyramid structure with it, and adding pure, clear quartz spheres. Now, what are the attributes and qualities with clear quartz?
Clear quartz is such a programmable stone. It's a mini computer that we can put any program in at all. And not every stone dealer will tell you this, but you could actually take a clear quartz and open a book to a picture of a stone, and I tease people, I said, I really want one of those Oogie Boogie stones that are $3 million a gram. But, we can't afford that sometimes. And so you could actually take the quartz and put it on top of the picture and ask it to carry the vibrations of that stone. And by asking that, you're actually programming the crystal to do just that. So clear quartz can actually be whatever we want it to be. It can carry the vibrations of whatever mineral or phrase or mantra that we want it to carry. And a great way to do that is just put the stone in your hand, and the right hand, since it's outgoing, and you just say a phrase like, I am living in perfect health. And then that stone says that mantra over and over and over for you. So it's carrying that phrase and reinforcing that energy within your space and helping you to live a much healthier life. So any phrase that we want to put in them, we can, and that's one of the things I like about clear quartz. And if I'm not mistaken, Chris, you like the clearer the better, don't you?
If you look at the pyramid that I was working with, the silver light, the crystals in there were poured quartz crystals. To get a raw quartz crystal perfectly clear, good luck. I tried Brazil. I had to go to China to find a perfectly clear quartz crystal.
I found, it was funny, in Washington, D.C., I went into the, escapes me, the one of the big places there that have crystals and, airplanes and all that good stuff. And they have a quartz sphere that is way bigger than I guess it would be about 50% bigger than a bowling ball. And it is perfectly clear. Not anything in it whatsoever. The first time I looked at it, I was like, Okay, well, that's nice. Well, I realized that I went back to that stone 3 times and looked in it. It gathered my energy so much. And I really liked it. It was the Smithsonian, I believe is where it was. And it amazes me. Every once in a while we'll find one, but they are far and few between because everything has to be so perfect for that formation to create such clarity.
Absolutely, and the ones I got, they said that they were melted down quartz and they were poured into this perfect sphere. So did it lose some of its vibration? Of course, possibly, but for me to get what I needed to make that bit of a sacrifice. Clearing a crystal. What are some of the ways that we can clear our crystals with?
One of the things that I teach, and I tease people, I'm a Kentucky boy, and if you hadn't figured that out, Chris, I do have a little bit of a twang. And so I like to do things as simple as possible. I'm not lazy, but I am an energy conservationist. And so what I do is I teach people that you could take clear water, running cold water right out of the faucet, hold the stone in there, and the focus that I say is be clean and ready for me. And you just hold it there till you feel relaxed. And then, to me, that stone is ready to use again.
So it's that easy?
It can be that easy. Okay. It is an action with a thought pattern. And in this case, knowing that holding it right there and seeing anything in it go out and right into the drain and back to Mother Earth, she's a great manifester of change. And so she helps change any of those vibrations and frequencies. And so it can be just that simple.
A lot of people have asked me about putting it in sea salt overnight, putting the crystal in moonlight overnight, burying it in the soil, a bunch of different ways. Are those ways also effective?
Some of those, now the moonlight to me, or sunlight, either one of those have a tendency to more energize the stone than clean and clear the stone.
Okay.
The sea salt I don't suggest, mainly because these quartz crystals may be thousands of years old, and sometimes the sea salt water itself can erase the memory that stone carries. And we want the stones to have as great memories and working abilities as possible. Sometimes it can erase that program, and you'll have to reboot. And when you reboot, sometimes that old information can be lost. So I suggest to do the clear water, and it really, you could even just put it in your hand and say, you are getting cleaner and clearer every second, and then put in 30 seconds, you will be perfectly clear and ready for me. And that's another way to do it. It's an action with a thought pattern.
Basic intent, just the same way I do my work. I use my tools, make intent, and things happen, change at the quantum level. Now, I'm going to do a quick demonstration for you. I've got a way of clearing crystals that cleans them to the very core level of the crystal. It's called a neutralization ring. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of one before. It's from my tool maker. Now, I'm going to take this ring, I'm going to hold it up to my microphone, and I want you to feel the energy of it. And I want you to tell me what you think of that.
I see it ringing my entire face right now.
Yeah.
It has a ring around it and a unique vibration within the center. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. But that's what I'm seeing, and it actually affects 5 different levels of the mineral itself. And just like you live, my friend, it's quantum energy and quantum work. And so I like the way that works. And I think, do you actually set the stone in the middle of it or pass it through it?
You just set the stone in the middle of it, hold it there for maybe 30 seconds. Now, when I'm working with clients, I work with 9 clients a day, sometimes 10. My pendulum is quartz crystal with an amethyst on top. After I finish working with one client, I put it in the ring for a few seconds. It's clear, ready for the next person. No thinking involved, just do it, boom, 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 in and out, and we go from one person to another. And it works extremely well. It keeps all dirty consciousness off of it. It keeps any kind of stray consciousness coming in. It works beautiful that way.
I like that. I like that, Chris. I like that. That's a very great concept, and I like the depth that it does, too. So, yeah, I can see that. And we have to keep our tools clean that we're working with, for sure, especially when we have a lot of clients.
Oh, you have no idea. They get dirty pretty darn quick when you're playing with toys. Now, tell me a bit more about, let's say, amethyst. A lot of people are very attracted to amethyst. What are the qualities with amethyst?
To me, amethyst really helps us, the crown chakra. Of course, we're talking about matching up the colors again, the chakra colors. It really opens up the crown chakra. It helps us with several great big picture things. Why, where, when. And usually when we get the why, where, and when of something, then we get the, oh, this is what's happening with that. And so it really helps the big pictures of a lot of information come in. Working with the amethyst, and I like, I know that you're probably a big amethyst man, because to me that's also part of the quantum energetics.
Yeah, the pendulum I have is amethyst on top, so that would make sense because I'm always asking questions: how, why, when, where, all these different questions. So that is basically a perfect choice for me. What's your favorite crystal, Tom?
I have two, and the apophylites we've already talked about. The other one is black tourmaline. And the reason being is more and more people that I meet, Chris, I'm sure as you've noticed too, are not well grounded. And with so many shifts happening with the earth, between earthquakes and, vibrational frequencies and, so many things happening with the earth energies themselves, it's harder to keep up with perfect grounding. And to me, a black tourmaline is a smack me in the face, ground me so low that I can play even better with more and more energy. And as a matter of fact, as we're talking, Chris, so that I keep good and focused, I have two speakers, one in each hand, my friend. And one of these I've been carrying with me for 15 to 20 years. It's been that long. I never, ever leave my house without the black tourmaline. One of the other things about grounding is you can actually use petrified wood. So many of us that are connected with a lot of our past information, as being druids and things like that. And if you use a petrified wood and envision roots like the trees coming out of the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet, and you send them down to the earth until you relax, and then the next step and the final step is you ask for those perfect energies to come up those roots and into us, and once again, you wait to feel relaxed. And when you do that, that's another fabulous way to ground. And I really love the trees. I live in the country, and I see a lot of trees, and I really enjoy that too.
You said you're holding a black tourmaline, correct?
Two, one in each hand.
Now, when you talk about grounding, one of the depths I go to with grounding is something called the vivaxis. And the vivaxis is an energetic ground from the root chakra into the core of the earth. Why don't you take those black tourmalines and connect it to your vivaxis and see how that grounds you?
Hey, second here. I'm focusing. And yes, to me and you, that works fabulous with the grounding, the single root. A lot of people need more than that, just one root to ground with. And that's one of the reasons I also teach some people the petrified wood and 4 ribbons down into the earth. But I've been single grounding a long time, but we meet more and more people that need a little bit more help with that too. So you could use black tourmaline, or you could use petrified wood to also ground 4 chords.
So, of course, petrified wood is not a crystal, but it is an element that certainly would help with grounding. Just like going to hug a tree or walk barefoot on the ground is going to help to ground you. Now, are there any crystals that you like to use along with each other, like maybe 2 or 3 different crystals? Will they work well with each other, or are they all just noble? I like to tell people, I get a lot of questions. I do a lot of lectures also. And the question that I get, do all my stones get along with each other? And
I tell people that I consider these to be, and if you'd like to say it this way, God's tools or the universe's tools. And I've never seen any of his tools fight each other. And when I first got into stones, I had a stone bag on my neck, so heavy that it was probably 5 inches across and 4 inches deep, and I had one in my pocket and more stones in my back pocket and front pocket, and of course this black tourmaline. And all my friends were teasing me, and they said, "Tom, if you get in water, you're not coming up." And so the stones that I really like to carry in Trinity, we'll say, would be the apophyllite, the hematite, and also blue kyanite. And one of the reasons I like blue kyanite so much, Chris, is that it is a great balancer of our chakras. It balances them, it cleans them, it charges them. It helps us to live in our center, even if somebody seems to be pushing our buttons. And so it really helps us to stay level with everything going on. So if we're grounded real well, and we're connected real well with the white light, and we're really walking in a lot of white light, and the apophylites help us with that, and then we're balanced, then a lot of things are so much simpler with those 3 stones.
That really resonates with me. You know what? I'm going to go buy some stones tomorrow. I've got a good friend down the street who sells a lot of stones at the Preferred Perch. Now, but I work at removing a lot of dark energies from people, curses, spells, weighing us down. Are there any stones that would you consider a dark or a low-level energy stone?
I've not met one yet. Most of the stones that I've met or crossed paths with carry great vibrations. Now, I will say you can program a stone to carry dark energies. Now, to me, that's different. You can take a quartz and program it to carry a particular type of energy that might not be of the light, we'll say, or challenging energies. But as far as a particular stone that resonates with that, I have not yet met one, Chris.
Well, that's a good thing. We don't want to bump into something like that now, do we? Quartz rods. Okay, like a wand, a quartz wand. Is there anything different from a quartz wand to, let's say, a quartz sphere or a pyramid? Does the shape and geometry make any kind of differences within the stone itself?
Without fail, each formation, the sphere, to me, resonates energy or vibrations within a whole room. It sends those energies out all around it, helping to fill up a room or an area with a particular vibration we're working with. Like with rose quartz, it would be the energy of love. And now if you used a pyramid, then that pyramid would actually be connecting, especially if it's connected north, south, east, west, as we realized, Chris, the Great Pyramids. It resonates more out of the tip and that vibration. And you could use that even as a pinpoint energy tool to work with somebody on an energetic level. So if they're having a challenge, let's say, with running energy for their skin, we'll just talk about their skin. Brachiated jasper is an exceptional stone that has a similar vibration as our skin or our tissue. It has the same vibration, and if we're having tissue challenges, then that means to us, then the skin not carrying all the vibrations needs. So you could actually take a pyramid, or we're going to say this time, a wand, and lay it across the top of the arm, going down that area, and that wand will focus the energy out of the tip through the, normally we were talking about one smooth end and one pointed end. It will help to run that energy down the meridian line and to the skin, through the skin, amplifying the perfect energies within the skin area. So it's a tool that can help focus that energy in a very pinpricked energy location, unlike the sphere, which is a radiation in all areas. And then the pyramid, that is a fountain of energy. Now, the pyramid and the sphere can also fill a room up, but they do it a different way. The sphere would be gently filling it up all over versus the pyramid. and the pyramid would be shooting the energy out of the top like a fountain, and gently, and then filling the room up. So you would feel more energy off the top of that than you would over a sphere.
Okay, so it's just like your toolbox. You've got all these different tools to remove a nut. Some work in different ways than others. Now you've got wands, spheres, pyramids, tumbled stones, all these different shapes that could do different things for you. And it's just a matter of discerning to yourself, what do I need in order to facilitate whatever ailment is happening in my body? Once again, give us your website so that people can contact you.
It's tomstones.org. Tomstones, Tomstones, not tombstones, but kind of close. Tomstones.org. The energy that I do is energy work, healing work, is actually facilitating perfect energy flow down the body. And even over the phone, I could look at somebody's energies and know, okay, their elbow, they're having a little situation with energy flow there. And what we do is we fine-tune the energy in that area, bringing in the prana energy of the universe into that area, and then work with the meridian lines as necessary. And let's say we were working on a wrist. We would have the energies, excessive energies, the palm pointed downward so that the excessive energies or the challenging energies have a way to float out. And I've had so much success with people. I've had people cancel spinal operations after having distance work with me.
Isn't it a wonderful thing to be able to do that?
It is marvelous. And this lady told me that the day that she walked into the doctor's office to set the appointment when she was supposed to have the spinal operation, she went into the doctor's office and danced around. It freaked the doctor out. He was like, I guess we need to postpone this. And then the next month, they had done an MRI between. The next month, she walked in and sat down and started talking to the doctor, and the doctor said, I don't see how you're walking. Well, MDs think that it has to be physical energy. Well, you and I know it is energy. It doesn't matter if their disc is not there or leaking. The disc holds the vibration. Well, if we could just put the energy vibration in there as if the disc was there, then the body knows no difference. And so it's a different way of doing work that is non-invasive, and it is, as you really understand, quantum work.
It certainly is, and you're working with the white light. Now, I like to call it the true love and light outside of this time matrix. And basically, think of the law of attraction. You're asking for something to happen, and boom, at the quantum level, it happens. And quite often, it's almost immediate where people feel some kind of relief from their body. What I have seen as I've gotten into this whole, let's call it a game of healing, is that there's so many ways to do it. There's so many ways that work so well for so many people, and it's just a matter of finding really what is going to work for you. Is it somebody who works dowsing with a pendulum? Is it somebody who commands energy of the stones? Is it somebody who uses a head of cabbage and a Ralph? I mean, there's so many different ways that this energy can be harnessed and used for our good of humanity.
That is so true, and, you know, I really like to see the seekers. You know, the seekers that we see at so many shows with the, you know, new people that are just starting into this, and when we see their eyes light up, we know we've touched them. And it is just a thrilling moment every time that we see that. And you and I do so many shows that we see that in a whole lot of people. Sometimes it's just one phrase of how you say something. It's like, oh, I got it. This is what's affecting my whole life. And when we see that light come into them, then it brings light, more light to us and love to us just by knowing that we were a part of helping them heal themselves.
And that's what it all does come down to, is that you're healing yourself. We're making the clearings and giving the energy for your body to heal itself so that you can raise your vibration, balance your vibration, get out of that muck that you've been walking in, and then finally realize that there's more to life than just sitting in a doctor's office waiting for your name to be called and waiting to get a prescription and go and pay hundreds of dollars for that prescription. Here is a way that people can actually take control of their life, make their own decision on how they want to take control of their life, and understand how your body works, how healing works, and how things are really affecting us at this quantum level. I want to thank my guest, Tom Benedict, for joining us tonight. Thank you so much, Tom. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Hey, you guys
Many blessings, Chris.
Tom, an honor having you on the show.
Many blessings, and thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
There you go.